What does a fighter do when his empire starts to crumble? When the walls he built with money and fame begin to close in on him? For Conor McGregor, a man now living in the shadow of a legal firestorm, the answer seems to be attack a legend. With his back against the wall, McGregor hasn't gone quiet. He's gone on the attack. But his target isn't the Irish legal system, it's Jon Jones, a man many consider the greatest of all time. McGregor has unleashed a verbal assault, calling Jones a coward who is ducking the sport's biggest challenges. This brings us to the real question. Is this a brilliant move to control the story, or is it just the last desperate roar of a man watching his kingdom turn to ash? To really get why McGregor is lashing out at Jones, you have to understand the crushing pressure he's under. The world of the Notorious is facing a threat bigger than any opponent he's ever met in the octagon. It started back in November 2024, when a Dublin High Court jury found McGregor civilly liable for assaulting Nikita Hand. He was ordered to pay over $250,000 in his damages, but that wasn't the worst of it. The court also ordered him to cover Miss Hand's jaw-dropping legal costs, which are estimated to be around €1.3 million, or nearly $1.4 million. As you'd expect, McGregor promised to appeal. His legal team announced they had fresh evidence, statements from two of Miss Hand's old neighbors who claimed they saw her in a fight with an ex-partner around the same time. The goal was obvious: to plant the idea that her injuries came from someone else. It was a huge risk, and it blew up in his face. At the start of the appeal hearing in July 2025, McGregor's lawyers made a stunning U-turn and withdrew the new evidence. They told the court they couldn't stand by that part of the appeal anymore, supposedly because of problems with backing up the reports. The move was so sudden it seemed to leave even the judges confused. And this is where things went from a financial nightmare to a potential criminal disaster. The court did something extraordinary. It referred the whole mess to Ireland's Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP. The court is now concerned about potential perjury, which is lying under oath, or even suborning perjury, getting someone else to lie under oath. Suddenly, the conversation online shifted. Reports started flying around that if the DPP decides to press charges and McGregor is convicted, he could face a severe prison sentence, with perjury in Ireland carrying a maximum penalty of up to 10 years. McGregor, of course, exploded on social media, calling the media vile and screaming his innocence. "This is far from over," he wrote. "I am innocent of these vicious lies. The truth shall prevail." Now, it's important to be clear. No criminal charges have been filed yet. It's all in the hands of the DPP, but the threat is very real. The ground underneath McGregor's feet has never been this shaky. His freedom, the foundation of his entire empire, is at risk. This is the five-alarm fire raging in his life, and it's the backdrop for his sudden, aggressive obsession with Jon Jones. So, with his legacy on fire and a potential prison sentence on the horizon, where does Conor McGregor point his anger? Not at the courts, not at the lawyers, but at the one guy whose own controversial career might be as wild as his own: Jon "Bones" Jones. As speculation about Jones's future reached a fever pitch in mid-May 2025, McGregor saw his opening. He didn't just question Jones's legacy, he tore into it, calling him a coward and a quitter who was running from a real fight. The timing is everything. Jones's future is already a huge debate. For months, the entire UFC world has been waiting for a legacy-defining superfight between Jones, the heavyweight king, and the terrifying interim champ Tom Aspinall. But as of now, Jones remains inactive, recovering from an injury, and the fight hasn't happened. This has left a vacuum filled with speculation and criticism. Jones's biggest rival, Daniel Cormier, has been a vocal critic, arguing that for Jones to be the GOAT, he has to face the clear #1 contender. The narrative was already out there. Jones, the supposed greatest of all time, was avoiding the scariest guy in the division and leaving a stain on his legacy. McGregor grabbed that narrative and threw gasoline on it. He repeated the exact same things fans and critics were already saying. He took the debate about Jones's career choices and made it his own personal weapon. And that's where you can see the play. The two situations couldn't be more different. McGregor is facing a legal system that could take everything from him. Jones is facing criticism about his choices as a competitor. By attacking Jones, McGregor is trying to drag another legend down into the muck with him, trying to blur the lines between his legal disaster and Jones's sporting controversy. He's basically shouting, "Hey, don't look at my empire burning down over here. Look at the supposed cracks in his." Before we get into the psychology of what's happening here, let me know what you think in the comments. Is McGregor just way out of line, or does he have a point about Jones and the Aspinall situation? And if you're getting some value out of this breakdown, do me a solid and hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest stories in MMA. What we're seeing here is a classic, if desperate, move. When you're losing the fight you're in, you start a new one, and you make it as loud and messy as possible. McGregor can't win a fight against the Irish courts on Twitter, but he can sure as hell pick one with Jon Jones. He is trying to change the headline from McGregor faces potential prison time to McGregor versus Jones, war of words between legends. It's a huge gamble. By going after Jones, McGregor picks someone just as polarizing as he is. Jones's career, as brilliant as it's been in the cage, has always been followed by controversy outside of it. From failed drug tests to legal troubles, he has a long history of getting in his own way, which makes him an easy target. McGregor knows that any feud with Jones is going to get a ton of attention. But the hypocrisy is almost unbelievable. McGregor, a fighter who famously held up entire divisions to chase boxing matches and business deals, is now the guy accusing another all-time great of not being a true fighter. He's blasting Jones for supposedly ducking Tom Aspinall, the exact same criticism that has been thrown at McGregor himself for years by hungry contenders he never fought. This doesn't just make his argument weaker. It makes him look worse to a fanbase that's getting sick of all the drama outside the cage. So, will it actually work? Is the MMA world really more interested in this manufactured beef than the very real possibility of one of its biggest stars going to prison? So far, the legal news seems to be sticking. This strategy is starting to look less like a genius move and more like a frantic effort to distract from a tidal wave he can't escape. He's on the deck of a sinking ship, throwing rocks at a giant on the shore, just hoping the splash makes everyone forget he's going under. What we're left with is a collision of two legacies, both crumbling in their own way. Jon Jones's career is clouded by criticism and speculation, with people accusing him of walking away before facing his final test. But his is a debate about legacy. Conor McGregor is facing something so much more real. His fight isn't for public opinion anymore, it's for his own freedom. His empire built on charisma, whiskey, and a lightning-fast left hand isn't being threatened by another fighter. It's being threatened by a legal system that couldn't care less about pay-per-view buys. This attack on Jon Jones feels like more than just trash talk. It's not about selling a fight. It feels like the desperate roar of a king who can see his kingdom turning to dust all around him. It's a last-ditch effort in a game where his opponent is the truth itself, a truth that is slowly but surely closing in. The question now isn't whether this will hurt Jon Jones's legacy, but whether anyone is even listening to McGregor's roar anymore, or if the empire is already too far gone to be saved.